back. You're live with me, Samantha Simmonds. 18-year-old Billie Eilish is the big winner at this year's Grammys. The singer and first-time nominee took home 5 awards, including Album of the Year for her debut, When We All Fall Asleep, Where Do We Go?, which she recorded in her childhood bedroom with her brother. Well, it was a high point on a subdued night where the sudden death of basketball great Kobe Bryant and his daughter in a helicopter crash loomed large. Sophie Long was at the ceremony and has been getting reaction.
He was a really great human being, and I think we lost a really great man. You know, I don't think I know we did. You know, we watched him grow up as a young man, making mistakes and stuff, and and evolving into a really, truly great human being.
This tragedy it's just, there's no words for it. I mean, it's just heartbreaking. And then yet in this moment, you know, just got to try to put a smile on and keep going.
Well, Sid Griffin is a musician and author. Nesta McGregor, a Radio 1 Newsbeat reporter who is a huge NBA fan, are both with me here in the studio. Welcome to both of you. Thanks very much for being here. Nesta, a huge NBA fan. What was your reaction when you heard the news about Kobe Bryant?
Yeah, it was a bit of a surreal weekend because I was actually in Paris for the NBA Europe game. Every year the NBA comes to Europe and kind of shows off what the sport is all about. And I was actually at the airport on the flight on the way back, and I got a WhatsApp message, and it just had a screenshot of the news. And there's loads of hoaxes on the internet all the time, and I honestly, it took me about maybe even when I landed, I still hadn't processed the news that I'd just seen the current crop of NBA athletes inspired by this man, who LeBron James had just surpassed to become the 3rd highest all-time scorer. And he'd passed away because the last time I saw him, he was game side, he was smiling, he was waving, and he was perfectly healthy. So it came as a shock and took a while to digest the news.
Yeah, shock to everybody. Sid, you're a huge fan as well. Huge. We saw musicians paying tribute. It's affected people not just across the sporting world, but really across categories, hasn't it? He was a huge international star.
Deeply so. His daughter was on the helicopter, who was obviously going to be some kind of a star. Basketball player herself. His dad was Joe Bryant, who played professional basketball in Italy. They gave him the fond nickname Jelly Bean. He started out as a unpolished diamond, and every year became better and better and better till he had the ankle injury, which crippled his last 3 years. But he became, off the court, more of a man and more of a representative to the LA area and in the league as well. He's very popular in China, of all places. And of course, the Staples Center, where he played, is where the Grammy Awards were last night. So it's sort of the house that Kobe built.
Yeah, that's what Alicia Keys made reference to, didn't she? So let's talk about the awards. Nesta, we saw Billie Eilish there sweep the board.
Yeah. Just
describe her music, because it's quite dark. Some people might be kind of surprised by her success.
Yeah, I mean, this is, I think, is she 19 now, but made the album when she was 17 and 18. And this is someone who has scooped the big 4 at the Grammys, and everyone says it's kind of unorthodox pop music because it's probably not the kind of stuff, you know, you put out before you head out on a night out. It's not necessarily the happiest of music, but I think it comes from such a genuine place when it's Billie Eilish, and so many people can relate to it because life isn't, you know, just get up and be happy every day. It's really honest. Her brother produced the album and won a Grammy as well. I just think you can tell when music is genuine. You can tell when someone isn't following a trend. Billie Eilish is crafting a whole new avenue just for herself, and amazing. And the fact that she was like, I think Ariana Grande should have won.
Yeah, very humble. Shocked. She described herself as a fan who's accidentally ended up there, didn't she? Sid, what do you think the awards these days are saying about the music industry as a whole?
I don't quite think the Grammys are where the Oscars are. I think when you see in the paper or in a magazine that something's won an Oscar, there's a tendency to go, oh, maybe we should see that film. I don't think the Grammys are there yet. They've always been slightly behind the times, and they're trying to catch up. The Billie Ellish thing is a perfect example of we're trying to catch up. She may well be a new representative of what I call the Snapchat generation, that we've had a watershed moment. She's not a sub-Madonna, who many of the female pop singers have been for the last 30 years. In the way that we had imitation Elvises and imitation Beatles and imitation James Browns. Not imitations, that's cruel, but people that were in that shadow. Emulating. People were in that shadow. I think Billie Eilish is standing on her own, and I think the fact that she got those 4 awards, and also her brother was Best Producer.
Yeah. And they made it at home in her bedroom.
Which
Yeah.
is the modern
Yeah.
world. This is
Yeah.
the way of the modern world.
All you need is a phone.
Yeah, you don't have to go to a huge, big studio. And I think it's almost a watershed moment for the Grammys. They're really moving into the contemporary times, the modern times.
Nesta, does anyone else stand out in the awards for you?
I just think, like Sid says, the Grammys have to move with the times. There are producers who will have a laptop and go away for 4 hours. Like, you don't need a massive studio. I think for me, some of the people nominated, I mean, little Nas X, his story is absolutely phenomenal. You know, Old Town Road with Billie Ray Cyrus. This record, I work upstairs at Radio 1. The amount of times I've heard that record, and it came from absolutely nowhere. He went into the studio and decided to have a bit of fun with the record, and it's now one of the biggest songs of the last 10 years. I thought the tribute at the beginning between Alicia Keys and Boyz II Men was amazing. The Grammys have a way of just falling on the right day. I think 2 years ago, Whitney Houston passed away, like maybe more, and it was the night before the Grammys. And it's really nice when there's that immediate response to something like that. And I think Lizzo being nominated as well. Like, people think Lizzo's new. She's 3 albums deep. She's really worked hard. The opposite of Billie Eilish. She's quietly made noise and is now getting the recognition.
Sid, thank you for reflecting on Kobe Bryant and the awards. Thank you. Thanks very much for being with us. I'm Samantha Simmonds.